What's up? What's up? What's up? This is Improvement Coach Robert L. Caddy. You're tuned in for another episode of The Health of the Nation. The Health of the Nation. And we have a really great show planned here today. We're going to go over some things pertaining to health, of course, and some things also pertaining to health insurance. Okay, we're going to go over some things about health insurance, health equity, some things pertaining to mental health, and an array of subjects, as we usually do here on the Health of the Nation. So glad that you joined us today. It's going to be a great show. Okay, we have our guest in the house. His name is James Collins. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself here shortly. We also have joining the show, as she will be joining the show on a regular basis. Okay, our entertainment consigliere, Star Fisher, and she'll be joining us remotely. Actually, she should already be on the line. Are you on the line, Star?
Of course, I'm present.
Okay, she's present. She's on the line. And of course, we have our guest in the house today, Mr. James Collins. Okay, he's in the house. So we've been having our a little segment as a part of the show. We've been calling it the After the Centennial. Okay, After the Centennial, where we make sure that we just cover some things that are happening here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the home of the original Black Wall Street, and make sure we put everything in perspective as far as the city moving forward, making sure that the community is moving forward, and making sure that we talk about some of the things that are proof of that. And Star has some information she wants to share with us. Let's go ahead and get into that, Star. Some things that are happening, some things that we have planned as far as entertainment, as far as what's happening here in Tulsa, Oklahoma on Greenwood. What's going on down there, Star?
Well, as much as I agree with you about the after the centennial mantra, I still feel like we have about 305 days to be in this year. So I think we should be commemorating for, the rest of that entire time, and bringing attention and awareness to the community, to the state, to the city of Tulsa. You know what I'm saying? So check this out.
Okay.
This is breaking news. Breaking news. Drum roll, please.
Okay. Let's have it.
I am partnering with the Greenwood Arts and Cultural Society.
Okay.
And the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And they have brought me in to put together a fundraiser for the Oklahoma Jazz Hall of Fame that is July the 16th. It's called Sounds of Service. We're going to be highlighting the service of Reverend Turner feeding the homeless. I think he's going to feed the homeless and have clothing for them as well.
Okay.
We have, check it out, special guest, Jesse Jackson.
Okay, Jesse.
We have also another special guest, Stacey Abrams.
Okay, Stacey.
We also have remotely MLK the Third.
Okay.
Going to be doing a video, kind of a video call into the event. This is going to be dinner and music featuring Tulsa's own Grady Nichols.
Okay.
Also, Leela James.
Wow.
And also, Mr. Anthony Hamilton.
Oh, man. This is a lot. That's a lot. You're going... I ain't gonna say you're going too hard. That's what we do best.
I'm not going too hard.
We want too much. That's the goal. Too much. We want too much.
Listen, but the thing that really sets it up for me is that when I just actually got off the phone with Anthony Hamilton and his manager a little while ago before this call, and they are interested in taking a tour of Black Wall Street. Leela James said that she and her entourage are going to tour Black Wall Street as well.
Okay.
And I want them to, and I get to check out the Greenwood Cultural Center and, just find out more about the history, because I feel like once we have people of their caliber who are able to keep the conversation going, even when these next 304 or 5 days, of the centennial are gone and we're starting into 2022, that conversation still needs to be taking place.
Definitely.
Economic development and growth still should be in place. You know what I'm
Definitely.
saying? So I feel like entertainers should be wanting to come down here and do the block parties, the
They
outdoor
do.
concerts,
They do.
fundraisers on Greenwood, go down to the train depot and help to raise money for the Jazz Hall of Fame, because all of these things are going to help to rebuild our community. We
Definitely.
have Revolt TV that's involved. They're going to be doing live coverage as well. BET is going to be covering. I just spoke with Nehemiah Frank, and he's going to be doing live streaming services. So it's going to be a nationwide event. You know what I mean? And this is something that's big for not just Tulsa history and Black history. I want people to know that this is American history
Definitely.
that should be being told.
Definitely.
So that's where we are.
That's awesome, and it has to happen. So we have to continue to push it. I want everybody to look forward to tuning into the health of the nation and getting updates as we get closer to those dates, and hearing about all the plans and the things that we are doing to ensure that we keep people coming and people engaged throughout the nation. So that's awesome, Star, and hopefully you'll even be on the show in person as opposed to only just being remote. Okay, because remote is good, but that's going to happen too. We're gonna do both of those. So again, that's awesome information, and of course, the rest of the community, everyone on social networks, social media, they're going to see some information pertaining to these events coming up soon. Is this right?
Yes,
Definitely.
July the 16th. It's in less than 2 weeks.
Okay, so that's going to be. We're going to start seeing flyers and posters and videos and things of this nature. ASAP. I know for sure. So.
You got it.
That's awesome, Star. It's getting ready to happen some more. Great job. And I'll tell you what we're going to do now. I'm going to allow our guest to go ahead and introduce himself. If you would, James, one time. Can you go ahead and test that mic, James, and make sure we can hear you well?
Mic check.
One time.
Mic check.
One time. James is an MC, so we can play with mic check all day. He might start rapping.
Yeah.
You know,
you better be careful.
Yeah. So anyway,
right, can you hear me now?
We can hear you, James. So just go give you an opportunity to go ahead and please introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what you do professionally, James, if you would.
Great. My name is James Collins. I'm a farmer's insurance agent here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I help people with auto, home, and more importantly, life insurance.
Okay.
On Instagram, you can find me listed as the income replacement agent, because that's one of the things that I pride myself in doing is helping others replace the income of the significant other that they lost. But yeah, that's a little about me. My office is at 6819 East 15th Street. And my phone number is 918-933-3821. And that's just a little bit about me and my agency.
Okay. Now you said the income replacement agent. I need you to kind of put that in perspective for us, James, if you could, just for our listeners, so they can really understand, exactly what you mean as far as how is this that you're going to help to replace income when people lose it, if you would.
Definitely. Being a life insurance agent, I am in a position to where I can help families.
Mm-hmm.
And the number way that I help families is by replacing the income of either one spouse or either both spouses.
Okay.
Just depends on how the situation plays out. I've seen so many times where the father makes, over $100,000 a year. Mom is a stay-at-home mom. Something happens to dad. Well, the only way that income can get replaced quickly is if he has a life insurance policy. Yeah, he may have investments and other things of that nature, but it may be difficult to get to those things within a certain amount of time.
Okay.
So therefore, if he has a life insurance policy, if he comes to me and we write him a suitable policy that fits his needs, that replaces his income. So now when something happens, the lifestyle that the wife is used to does not change.
Okay.
She can stay in the same house. She can keep the kids there. She can do what she needs to do, because now that income that she's used to has been replaced. Versus if she has to go without that 100K. Now we're talking about maybe she has to move back in the parents. Maybe she has to live in a different neighborhood. Um, so that's why it's important, and that's why I refer to myself as the income replacement agent, because when you come to me, that's my goal, is to make sure that we replace the income of either you or the other spouse.
Well, I can tell you that's brilliant. I mean, I don't know of any other insurance agents who are that creative and have taken that depth and being able to explain what it is they do and what they can do, for people. So I can just tell you that's brilliant. That's great marketing, great advertising, and a great way of explaining what you're able to do, for people. But and having you on the show, James, one of the things that we really wanted to get into was just putting in perspective, of course, health. When we talk about insurance and we talk about health, um, how does health, an individual's health, how does it help them as far as their policies and premiums and things of this nature? Is it important? Is that another reason, would you say, for people to get engaged in having better health?
Yeah, it's extremely important. And of course, I can sit here all day and I can tell you that it's extremely important. But
Okay.
let me tell you why it's important.
Okay.
The healthier you are, the less you pay typically when it comes to life insurance.
Okay.
So at for example, like my company, we have a rating that's called the Platinum Elite. So Platinum Elite means this person is in optimal health.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a Platinum Choice.
Okay.
So a Platinum Choice may be kind of average. Then you have a Platinum, and then if they smoke, it goes down from there. So let me just kind of sum it up like this: if you're a Platinum Elite and you have a 10-year policy, you're going to pay a lot less than that person who's rated as a platinum.
Okay.
So what does that mean for me as an individual? If I know that I need life insurance or I'm seeking life insurance, it might be a great idea to become, part of some workout program or a program like Better, so I can get myself in the best shape.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go through the underwriting process, I can get the best rate that's ideal for me.
Okay.
So it does. Your health does play a big factor.
Okay, that's awesome. Um, and something else that we had talked about prior to us going into the show um, was this concept of idea of what we're referring to as um, health equity. Okay, health equity, and of course, when we talk about health equity, is something that's being presented at the legislative level. When they talk about health equity and they talk about the equity of different communities or different states and so on and so forth, we're talking about the balanced opportunities for communities to be healthy, the individuals within those communities to be healthy. As far as, let's say, the Black community, the Asian community, the Native American community, have you noticed, the differences as far as, the people who are able to utilize their health as, I'm going to say, collateral and improving their opportunities to get better policies? Have you noticed that there's a difference? African Americans, because of their current situation health wise, they're not getting as good of policies. They don't have the opportunity. When we talk about Native Americans, so on and so forth, have you noticed a difference as far as what they're referring to as health equity?
Yeah, I have noticed a difference. Of course, a lot of that can be, you can say it's basically on the individual
Mm-hmm.
basis, but kind of as a whole, sometimes you see like certain ailments.
Okay.
Or you see, for example, high blood pressure.
Okay.
Diabetes. That's common. In most black households.
Okay.
So you kind of see that, and then I'm sure there's other, ethnic groups that deal with other ailments as well. And so I think the culture, the mindset plays a lot into how that's addressed. And what I mean by that is, um, I have friends and their family members have actually said, "Hey, look, you always gonna have
Right.
blood pressure. You always gonna have diabetes. That's just part of who you are."
Right.
And so they don't take any proactive. They don't take a proactive plan to change that. So yeah, that's why I say there's definitely what you mentioned, health equity. And I think in order for that to change for the better, especially in the black community, I'm just talking because that's where I come from.
Right.
In order for that to change, the mindset has to change. We have to say, you know what? I know I have high blood pressure. I know I have diabetes, but how can I get better? What can I do?
Okay, what can I do? And
Right.
and actually the conversation itself, as they talk about creating equity, is all about being able to affect, quote unquote, the disparities, in different communities. And of course, if we talk about the black community, we talk about disparities, we're talking about the dynamics of culture. Like we
Right.
mentioned this before, we're talking about the dynamics of culture. And in different cultures, there are different challenges as far as health, some that are more dominant and others than they are, and some and less than the others. So of course, when we talk about the African American community, we're talking about diabetes, we're talking about stroke, we're talking about heart disease. In other communities, there's some things that, as far as the percentages are higher. There's some other things that are finally being added, to the list, and these are some things that pertain to mental health. Now we're talking about mental health, as we talked about before, even as we talk about creating opportunities for communities to affect disparities, it still comes down to people understanding why this is even important, right?
Right.
Because we can create, opportunities for people to get fresh food all damn day, but if they don't want it, they don't want it, right?
Right.
If I don't see no reason why I should be doing this, I really don't understand. I really don't see the advantage other than, well, they say it's better for me. And that's kind of like where programs like the Better Program come in, because our goal is to make sure that people actually understand, how this can benefit you, not just saying that it's going to keep you from getting high blood pressure, but it goes a little deeper. When we talk about improvement, when we talk about a person's ability to, even think clearer or have more energy, or whatever the case may be, when it talks about people being able to actually reach whatever goals that they may have, this is important. It has a lot to do with that, not just only in some people's minds, I'm healthy, I lose weight, so and so, but we're actually talking about people having clearer states of mind. We're actually talking about people's ability to be able to make a decision and deal with any mental challenges, addiction, whatever the case may be. So even as we talk about, again, the opportunity that's created with equity to address the disparities, we still get into those challenges that pertain to things like, mental health.
Right.
Mental health, and I know, with what you do, um, I'm just going to ask you this question as we talk about health and we talk about premiums. Is this something that could be considered as far as assisting people with different policies that they're able to obtain? If they have any challenges in that area, or even if they're just that they're working on that, or they're seeing people. I mean, is that something that can assist people as far as their policies and what they're able to obtain? Insurance wise.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I think a good a good way to go about it, or to take the first step, is find out where you are.
Okay.
Find out your your BMI. Now we know that's not 100% accurate,
Mm-hmm.
but you can find out your BMI because and then know your history, know
Mm-hmm.
your family history.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you decide to get a life insurance policy, there's no surprises because kind of what you talked about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
knowing yourself.
Okay.
You know your family history, you know what you have, you know your own history.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, anything that comes across that underwriter's desk,
Okay.
you are already aware of it.
Okay.
And
So you're saying that there may be some things that could come across his desk from individual research or from the company doing some research that an individual, if they don't reveal it, it's like they don't know. It's like you won't know as an agent, or is it something that they could find out if I came to see you and I didn't tell you?
Yeah, because in some cases they pull medical
Okay,
records.
so they will pull your records, and you act
Yeah.
like ain't nothing wrong, and
Yeah. I mean,
you got heart problems and you can't breathe, and and all
Right.
this. Okay, so this
Right.
stuff can come out.
Right.
Okay.
It can actually come out,
Okay.
through medical records and through research.
Okay.
So it's best that up front,
Mm-hmm.
kind of, what your situation is and what you're dealing with.
Okay.
So like I said, when it goes across an underwriter's desk,
Mm-hmm.
there's no surprises. And if you get an unfavorable, rate,
Mm-hmm.
then you know why, and then you can know what to do in order to change it.
Okay.
It may be you need to lose 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
It may be you need to get your blood pressure down, 10 or 15 points.
Okay.
So like I said, it's just knowing you, and then once you know you and you know the steps to take, then you can put yourself in a better position so that you're paying less for those policies.
Okay. And that's I mean, as we talk about health, as we talk about the health of the nation, and Star, you still on with us? I think she may have put us on hold, but
No, I'm still here.
you still here with us?
I'm
As
still
we
here.
talk
I'm
about
here.
health, and I know you've worked in some areas as far as health, assisting people with their diets and putting plans together to help them to improve their health. As we talk about health and putting some things in perspective, um, and it's important for the insurance. It's important for these days. It seems like it's important for just about everything,
Yeah, it is.
and I guess it's always been important, but now we're starting to kind of connect the dots. Even towards as we start looking into mental health. Quite often, we kind of ignore the connection, which is, one of the things that we've always done in the Better program is made sure that we connected the dots, the mind, body, and spirit, and provided the proof for how these things are connected, and how your health actually has an effect upon a person's ability to think clearly, or their energy levels, and how your energy levels have an effect upon a person's ability to think as well. So as we talk about that, and we start looking a little deeper into the concept of mental health, this is something that I want to throw out there because I know you've written a book, right? And what is the title of that book again, James?
The title of my book is 7 Steps to Live Effectively and Successfully with Bipolar Disorder.
Okay, all right, and that's effectively and successfully with the bipolar disorder.
Right.
And I don't know, what would that be considered a mental health challenge when people say bipolar? I'm not sure, not on that.
Yeah, when people mention bipolar disorder, of course, there's a lot of joking and things like that. But I mean, it is a serious mental health issue.
Okay.
There's a organization called NAMI, North American Mental Association, and they state that there's a certain number of Americans that actually deal with bipolar disorder.
Okay.
So I mean, this is a serious mental health challenge.
Okay.
For many people.
Mm-hmm.
So in my book, I talk about those challenges.
Okay.
And I talk about the 7 steps that people can implement to overcome, because my the message that I want to get across is, despite your mental health challenge, you can be the best you. You can still be the best you.
Okay.
Despite your physical challenges, you can still be the best you. And in the essence, that's what my book is about.
Okay. And I'm going to say, if that's something that you've been diagnosed with, I'll say, just knowing you for as long as I've known you, since we were in high school, that's something that I never known. As us being athletes and wrestling and working out together, that's something that I never knew, because it's obviously something that I guess you never wore it on your shoulder, or you actually learned how to still have some success in doing all that you're doing, even with that diagnosis. The thing that I want to talk about and put in perspective with, even with what you're talking about, is the difference in, I'm going to say, some conditions and the way people's brains are actually wired, and the difference in actually people just having addictions. Okay, that actually having addictions, because our minds can be wired a certain way,
Right.
which can lead us to think, or think a certain way, or not to be able to think a certain way. But then again, we also have the concept of addiction. When we talk about mental health in the in any community, I'm going to say the Black community, because that's where we're at here, but particularly any community. I think putting in perspective addiction, and putting in perspective the fact that there are some people whose minds are literally just wired differently, and they have to learn how to process and learn how to function and learn how to still be successful, where there are a lot of people who have identified, who have been diagnosed with certain things. Could be anxiety, could be depression, could be this, and in a lot of cases, a lot of that's powered by, I'm going to say, addiction.
Right.
As we talked about, addiction. I mean, it's not just that people have addictions to narcotics, or they have drugs and methamphetamine, but also anger, also depression, also anxiety, as well as
Certain emotions.
and being an athlete. We always talk about the 1921 days to create a habit, and we move over to addiction and blah blah blah, so on and so forth. And that's just because of the biochemicals that the body produces when in a state, as far as a certain state of excitement or working out. And at a certain time, once you get there, then your body will take over, and that doesn't have anything to even do with your thoughts. I mean, and that's the thing about addiction. And I think that's one of what makes it such a challenge, in the community, is that a lot of people don't look at these addictions as actual addiction. We talk about anger, depression, anxiety. They just look at it as something that, of course, they have.
Right.
They're not really looking at the fact that it's a possibility that their brain could be wired a certain way. And in some instances, I do believe that there are some diagnoses that are based upon the fact that a person's mind is wired a certain way. But in some instances, of course, we can create habit that moves over to addiction.
That's true.
And I think that one of the biggest obstacles when we talk about mental health, I think that's something that we're dealing with, is really, really putting in perspective addiction. What do you think about that, James? As far as putting it, the difference. When we're talking about the wiring, and we're talking about addiction, when we talk about bipolar, when we're talking about how a person's brain functions, and we're talking about a person being in a state where they are depressed or angry for 19, 21, 60, 90, 100, 365 days,
Yeah.
to the point of it becoming something that they look for.
Right.
They actually look for an opportunity. What do you say about that, James?
No, I think it's definitely relevant. I mean, addictions play a huge role,
man.
So like you said, with the wiring, and once again, that goes back to knowing yourself.
Okay.
In my family history, there may be, some wiring there that kind of creates some mental issues.
Okay.
Who knows? I don't know that. But if indeed there's a wiring issue, like you said, now I have to figure out, how do I change my addictions?
So you're saying how much of it is actually wiring, and how much of it can be addiction as well.
Right, and how much of it can be addiction as well. And then I got to recognize those addictions, and then I need to see what I can do to get addicted to something else, something positive. So, and that's kind of what my book is about. Is okay, you recognize you have a problem. I recognize I have a challenge. I've been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. So now I have to determine what new addictions I'm going to create so I can be successful.
Okay.
Because if I get addicted to the wrong thing, see my mind, and I'm talking about me, my mind is already fragile as it is. So if I get addicted to the wrong thing, narcotics and, other stuff, that could just make my situation worse. So now I have to make sure that I'm getting addicted to the right things that's going to make me successful. And when I say successful, I'm not saying, hey, you're a millionaire.
Right.
I'm just saying I'm able to, live my daily life, take care of my spouse, take care of my kids, and be functional, and operate so I can be the best that I can be. Right. And to me, if I can be the best James and you can be the best Robert on a daily basis, then that's what I consider being successful.
That's success. That's successful. We're able to.
Can I interject?
Please.
Okay, and you all can correct me if I'm wrong, but Robert, I'm a conspiracy theorist. As some people would call it. I feel like I'm a truth seeker more than conspiracy, but I feel like going back to the conversation about the health equity, if we're looking at the fact that if you come to the intersection on Pine and Peoria and look and you see Popeyes, Taco Bell, McDonald's, Burger King, Sonic, that to me is a subliminal message that's being given to our community that we either do not value our own personal health or the health of our community, or this could be a question that could be posed in the community, is that are we being brainwashed into believing that this is okay and the adverse side effects, reactions that come along with eating this fast food and the chemicals that are involved with the creation of it, that we're supposed to just kind of sweep that under the rug, because we all know that with processed foods that come out of bags and boxes and that are made in mass quantities and shipped to other factories and distributed to the public for consumption, we know it's not healthy. So if we are talking about health equity, are we also going to acknowledge the fact that the chemicals that are made in these foods could potentially be contributing to the mental health problem that we have? And if we have a lot of African Americans who are now admitting to the fact that they have bipolar disorder or addictive personalities and things of this nature, could it be because that's what has been predominantly in our community? Even with like the foods that they sell at the Dollar Tree, they have that grocery store frozen food section, but that food isn't even made in America. If you look at the labels and stuff on it, that stuff is made in Thailand and China, and
it's poison.
You know what I'm saying? So
Definitely.
it's just a question that I want to pose. Are those chemicals contributing to the mental health of our community as well?
I would damn sure say they're not helping. I know. We know 110%. We know they're not helping. There's no question about that. I'm gonna say I think providing an understanding, to the fact that this can contribute, or this definitely is not helping at all. There's no way. It's no way possible that it's going to be helping with any condition. As we talk about health and wellness, I mean these chemicals and preservatives, of course, they have no place in general. But I guess when we get to a better understanding as far as why would I make another choice? Why would I even make another choice? I mean, I think that's where the next level as far as this conversation has to go. How do we provide the information and understanding for people to have the desire to even make another choice?
Right.
What is it that you need to hear? What is it? How do I inspire you to want to do something different? I think that's the challenge that we're faced with. What do you think about that, Star?
I think it goes beyond where we are. We've got to dig a little bit deeper. I think we have to recognize that every time that I see on Facebook, 9 times out of 10, a funeral is happening for somebody that's 10 years old, 2 years old, 50 years old, 75 years old that's died in the Black community. Nobody has any money for funeral arrangements. There's always a GoFundMe, and can we have a fundraiser, and we can't bury them, and can we do this, and can we sell some T-shirts? And the thing for me is that if we already know that once we are born, that we are evolving to go back into the earth, and if we're not making the proper preparations to keep the burdens off of our family in order for, for that, when that happens, then I don't think that we are doing ourselves the complete due diligence of understanding our own personal equity. And I think that's another reason why, and I'm probably getting ready to veer off the path, but I think that's another reason why you can look at things that happen in the media, law enforcement, how we feel like we are expendable. But at the end of the day, if you just start knocking off Black folks, they don't have life insurance anyway. We don't have to pay their families any money. So the more we knock them off, the less we have to deal with them anyway. So, I mean, I think if we start to look at ourselves as, if we liquidated our value today, what would we be worth?
And I think that's a key word there. That word there, you said value. People feeling like they're important. I'm so damn important that I'm not going to put that in my body. What I have to do on this earth is so important. My purpose is so important that I'm not going to do this to myself on a regular basis. So absolutely. I think us getting back to providing that understanding as to why in the hell would I even want to choose this over that, and not only getting to understanding, but believing that I have something that's for me to do, that if I don't do it, it won't be done. I'm important. I have value. You're important. You have value. That's why I'm choosing this. That's why I'm choosing these drinks. And that's why I'm choosing those meals. It has a lot, it goes more than this just tastes good, but it actually has to do with me valuing myself, or me even, and providing the example, for the people around me, my children, my family, my community, etc. So there's something that I don't want to ignore, because, this is America. We can't ignore the fact that this is America, and we have to understand that this nation was built on capitalism. Yeah. And capitalism is cold-blooded if you don't know about it, because that means that a person has the right to sell, just like you have the right to buy, and just like we have the time to learn.
Literally.
If we don't take the time to learn, then we're just basically out here just victims. I don't want to be a victim. There's some decisions I'm going to make, or I'm going to be a victim. I'm the type of person, I'm upset. I'll be upset about being a victim. You know what I'm saying? I can't make everybody upset about being a victim, but I guess we're going to go back to that, just the value, So, going back to where the value was may have been lost. Right. Now we're getting into something a little deeper individually that I don't think, even with, the things set on every corner, if there's a liquor store in every corner and there's a barbecue place on every corner, we're looking at capitalism. This is America. That's not against the law. But I think me not valuing myself now, that's something that should be against the law. Right. You being around me and not valuing yourself is against the law. And me being around you and not valuing myself should be against the law, because these other things are not against the law.
Yep, it should be.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Star? You still there with us?
I completely agree. Mm-hmm. I agree, and that's the reason why I feel like if we're looking at where we are and about the equity that we should understand, mm-hmm. that we have and possess, just as individuals, we can look and see that if we go down to 91st and Yale, mm-hmm. they have a Whole Foods, a Fresh Market, mm-hmm. and a Tinsdale. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? In their intersection. Mm-hmm. So is it that you're able to subliminally convince people that if you're in, I was looking at that video that you sent me with Dr. Carrie Ross, mm-hmm. Carrie Norris,
right?
And she was talking about how people are typically affected by their environment, and that's the conversation that they have. But I agree to the other side of the coin where you're typically more affected by the zip code that you live in, because that will determine what businesses come there, what economic growth.
Definitely, this is capitalism.
And if we're a capitalistic society, and we know that if you live in a particular zip code, that we're going to be able to capitalize off of these people by putting fast food here. If we know we're going to be able to capitalize off these people by putting a gym here. If we know we're going to be able to capitalize off these people by putting an office complex here. You know, we've got to figure out, it's like you said, it's not against the law to be a capitalistic society, but it should be against the law to not value yourself. And if we're continuing to support these businesses that are in our community that do not contribute to our health equity, and that could potentially be contributing to our mental illness in our community because of the chemical compounds that are in these foods that we eat and drink. We know that white sugar has the same effects and even more as crack cocaine. You know, it has addictive properties just like that. But at the same time, we continue to consume sugar upon sugar upon sugar, and we say, okay, well, yeah, we need to address the diabetes aspect. We need to address the high blood pressure aspect. We need to work out. You need to know how to make better choices. But if we're not fully educated about why we should make the choices that we make, I don't believe a lot of people even know that the chemical compounds and the properties that white sugar possesses has the same effects on you as crack cocaine. And that's why we have a lot of black people with big bellies. Right. You know what I'm saying? So and if you don't know that, you'll continue to consume those things. You know, and I believe that if we understand the power that food possesses, if you eat living food, whatever you eat in the condition that it's in, when you put it in your body, that's the same thing your body is going to react to, and it's going to have the same adverse reaction to that. If you eat live food, you're going to be alive. If you eat processed food, your body is going to have to process it, and it is going to eventually break down. If you eat sugary foods, it is going to give you all of those addictive properties that are in those chemicals. Just knowing that turmeric, blueberries, walnuts, salmon, omega fatty acids, all those things contribute to your brain health, your mental stability. And I think if we learn to understand why we are supposed to consume certain things and why we should be consuming things for our mental well-being, our physical well-being, and our spiritual well-being, I think it adds to our equity, and we'll be able to understand that better. And that's the springboard for us being able to be healthy.
Two key words: understanding and value. You know,
that's huge.
Why are these things important? Understanding, you know, and another word I'm going to throw in there, inspiration, you know, because people have to be inspired. They have to be inspired to even, why would I even come to this event to learn? You know, what is going to inspire me to learn more, you know, to gain an understanding, you know, so that I can have some value, understand that I am valuable, understand why I'm even getting engaged in, you know, whatever activity, if it's fitness, even if it's fitness for the right reason, you know, other than just, you know, losing weight or looking away, you know, actually feeling away, knowing that fitness actually has something to do with your state of mind and your ability to have a clear mind and to process thoughts and to actually think of things and be innovative, to know that, you know, lifting weights and pressing weights, you know, most people think this just has something to do with how I want to look and I want to go to the beach and all this. I want to get a girlfriend and I want to get a boy, which is just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? That's just the basics. You know, we're talking about things that go a lot deeper than that. And you know, Star, as we talk about, you know, powerful words like addiction, one of the things I always remind my clients is that the human body is made up for addiction. And we have a choice. We have the ability to create addiction. There's a such thing as healthy addiction. The question is, what do I want to be addicted to?
Right.
I have the POWER to create the addiction that I want to, so that I can get up and do certain things every day. Where I can have an addiction where I got to have it.
Got to.
That's called POWER, power.
Exactly.
You know, so I mean, and even as we talk about it, you know, as we talk about the Black community and we talk about all the health challenges that you know, I would consider, you know, the dynamics, right? because in each and every community there are dynamics.
Right.
There are certain things that Black men deal with more when we talk about mental health, when we talk about the African American experience, and we talk about the things that we have experienced and the things that have been passed down the line, right? Things that have been passed down the line. We talked about it earlier, James, as we talk about things that addictions in the womb.
Right.
I mean, we could go way back, right? We go far back as, how far do you want to go back, to talk about that?
Yeah. See, and I didn't realize that, when you said that, just like, a woman can have a crack baby, she can also have a baby that deals with depression, that's dealing with anxiety, whatever state she was in when she was pregnant, that can affect the child. When you said that, that really hit home.
Man, I mean, all
That
of
hit
us.
home.
I mean, all of us have addictions, and we have the ability to create new addictions. I mean, what state was my mother in for the 9 months that she carried me? Was she angry? Was she sad? Was she what state was she in? Because that's a part of me, and
Right.
I got to know myself. Because if I don't know myself, I can have these addictions to anxiety, and I'm trying to figure out why I can't keep eating hamburgers when I get nervous. And meanwhile, we blaming. Look, Taco Bell, man, this is capitalism. This is America.
Right.
Hell, if they didn't open it, hell, a black man would have opened. Let's be real. Look, it ain't here. I need to look. Black people, whoever, it's capitalism. This is but capitalism is a cold concept. It is not I'm gonna take care of everybody who got a problem concept. It is everybody has the freedom to know better concept.
Yep.
Everybody has the freedom to know better. I have the freedom to learn about what's best for my body. I have the freedom to learn about the proper insurance policy. I have the freedom to learn. Freedom is a cold piece. And guess what? Maybe not all of us is ready for this type of freedom.
That's true. That's true. But like you said, everybody has a choice. Everybody has a choice. Everybody has the freedom, and then they have the choice.
But I mean, and in some countries, I mean, some things you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do, you can't have this type of food with this particular artificial flavoring or coloring. You can't do that in certain countries, But here in America, I mean, this is capitalism, right? Capitalism ensures me that I can wake up tomorrow and say I'm a painter and go get some paint and start painting houses, right? I can do that. That's why people be lined up. As many challenges as we have in America, people are lined up to get here because they can wake up tomorrow and say, guess what? I own a store.
That's true.
You can't do that everywhere.
Right.
So I'm saying, even with us identifying, the challenges that come with capitalism, we have to go to the core, the root of it all. And I think that's going to be us valuing ourselves, knowing who we truly are, and understanding what actually gives us value. What is it that gives me value? What is it in me that makes me valuable?
That's good.
This is something that's not taught to us in school. Only question we ask is, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Right.
I want to be a football player, and I want but that ain't got nothing to do with my own individual uniqueness and purpose.
Your value.
Because what James got is what James got, and ain't nobody else got what James got. What Star got is what Star got, and ain't nobody else got what Star got. And if James and Star don't deliver what they got, then the world will never have what it is that they have. So I guess this is a lesson that there's grown people going to the grave.
Miles Monroe said the same thing in his book. He mentioned that the graveyard is full of gifts and talents.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of people that they were not empty when they went to the grave. Yeah, Miles Monroe said that. So, Caddy, you're in the book. I don't know if you read his book or not, but yeah, you're in the book.
Okay, already. I think
it's the wealthiest place on earth.
Yep.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. And that's one of the reasons, me particularly, I lean so heavily on the word, inspiration. I always tell people there's a difference in inspiration and motivation. Inspiration has to do with what's going on inside. Motivation has to do with what's going on outside. When I'm talking to people, when I say better inspiration, I'm talking to what's going on there. I'm talking to the inner you. I'm talking to where your true power lies within. Right. Because there's always going to be outside influences, but what really matters is what's going on inside. How do you think about you, right? What is my perspective and my perception on me? Because my perspective and my perception lays the foundation for my thinking, and my thinking lays the foundation for my emotions, and my emotions lay the foundation for my addictions. But it begins with what am I thinking? How am I thinking about myself, James? How are you thinking about yourself, James?
I like to interject and just kind of touch on what you said. You said inspiration is better than motivation. One thing, at least for me, whenever I'm inspired, I always ask myself why, or
Mm-hmm.
or I question. So a lot of times, inspiration causes us to question. Okay, well, now that I'm inspired, why is this like this? Why do I have to keep eating like this? You know, why do I have to, die without life insurance?
Mm-hmm.
When I get the right inspiration, okay, such and such had a funeral, the family was able to handle everything. It was all taken care of. Nobody was passing, the hat, the plate, none of that. I see this guy over here. He's in really good shape. So now when I'm inspired, that makes me, okay, what do I need to do to make the changes so I can get where I want to be? That's one thing about inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Inspiration will cause you to ask why and what is it that what I need to do.
Man, I think our nation and community is suffering from a lack of inspiration. I believe that once you inspire people, it gives them what they need to look a little deeper into why. First of all, let me get to the why, but I need to be inspired to the why. How do you inspire me to why? And that goes beyond, I say just motivational speaking. Just telling a person, but a person even creating their world. Like we say, I want to create a world that supports, what it is that I want to do. I have to have that world around me, and that's the support. And I believe that when we talk about looking up on every corner and it's this and it's that and that, and it really doesn't support, the person that I'm trying to become. If there's liquor stores on every corner and there's, fried chicken on every corner, and there's no fresh foods available, that's not really supporting the person that I have become or the person that I want to become.
Right.
But there's so many people who are uninspired, the millions who are uninspired, and that's a market. This is America. It is capitalism. It is a market. So I believe, a great part of our job is to inspire people to more. How do I inspire people? How do I get them to understand that their value, that they have that type of value? What is going to make you choose a salad over that chicken sandwich at Popeyes? I'm going to say that again. What is going to make you choose a salad over that chicken sandwich at Popeyes? That's serious. Because
No, you're right though.
it's funny, but it's serious, because you have to look at what you're up against. It's addiction. Me myself, so many people was buying the Popeyes chicken. I was wondering if they put something in that damn thing. I was wondering my damn they put something in that.
Everybody was getting them.
I said, man, I said they put something in that, and they had to make an investment in high blood pressure medicine, and was looking for a return. That's the only thing I could think. They made an investment in high blood pressure medicine. I don't know, but I'm just saying that inspiration in us feeling important.
Right.
And as we go a little deeper, we look at the things, the dynamics in the Black community. We look at all the challenges that Black men face as far as health disparities, high blood pressure, diabetes, stroke. We're looking at things that pertain to mental health. We have to be able to connect the dots and put in perspective why, we're talking about getting healthier, even if it's not just because of our legacy and being able to provide our legacy with what they need through insurance policies, because we know we're not going to be here forever.
Right.
But also just because of purpose, and that's the main thing. Even with our program, in the Better program, I always tell people at the end of the day, everything that you see, all the eating and all the exercising and all of the motivation, it's really about purpose. So it's about, one, people being prepared for purpose. I don't want to not be ready. I don't want you to not be ready. I don't want Star to not be ready for hers, because what's hers is for her. Now, the tragedy would be for her to not be ready. when the opportunity comes, right, Star?
Absolutely.
Now that would be a heartbreaker. This is yours. This is nobody else's, and you're not ready because you're tired, because you're stressed out, because you haven't been breathing. You're not breathing because you're not exercising, and you can't make your mind up and make a good decision to put the right things in your body, and here's the opportunity that's for you, to blow the world away, and you're not ready. That's what I would call a heartbreaker.
That would be a heartbreaker. I have to agree.
Mm-hmm. So we ain't gonna allow that happen. So I think as a unit, as a part of the health of the nation, as part of Black Wall Street, we have to accept some responsibility in providing this message, sharing this message to our community, to the nation, to the state here in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, not just for African American people, but understanding this is probably, I believe, it's one of two of the most unhealthiest states in the nation. Unhealthiest states, as far as obesity, as far as mental health. We have the high percentage of women who are going in and out of incarceration. This state here, as far as health in general, it's below the red. So I mean, that just kind of shifts the responsibility that we have, with the information that we have to make sure that we share it with people. I mean, so that's something else that we put on the table, for Black Wall Street, Star.
I'm with it. Anytime you get ready, let's put it together.
Yeah. So, but before we go off the air, we got about 30, 40 seconds. I want James to go ahead and provide some information on what he does and how people can reach out to him to learn more about what they need to do as far as improving or even gaining, certain policies that they need. James, how do people reach you?
You can reach me at 918-933-3821. My office is at 6819 East 15th Street. I will give you my email address as well, jcollins2 at farmersagent.com. And you can also find me on Facebook at a James Collins Agent at Farmers. If you would like to get a copy of the book, 7 Steps to Live Effectively and Successfully with Bipolar Disorder, you can inbox me or you can call me as well, 918-933-3821. And like I said, you can just find me on Facebook. The book is available on Amazon and pretty much all your online stores. Thanks, Caddy.
Okay, tell me this, James. What about since that's something that you've been able to be successful with as far as that diagnosis? Are you open to speaking to groups of people or individuals about how to live successfully, with the bipolar diagnosis?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
and if for speaking, if you would like for me to come out and speak to your group about what I've been able to do and some of the success that I've had, that I've been blessed with, you can email me, collinsj825@gmail.com, collinsj825@gmail.com. I'd love to come out and share my testimony.
Man, awesome, James. Man, I'm so glad that you came on, man, and I really appreciate you, and just continue blessings, my brother. I'm always here to support everything that you do. That's what we do. That's what we've always done. Again, Star, I really do appreciate you joining us and keeping us in the loop. Please join us next week. I'll look for that information that you'll be sharing on social media and so on and so forth, so we can get that out there for the people so they can learn about all the great things that are coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma. That'll be on Black Wall Street, all the concerts with Anthony Hamilton and Jesse Jackson and who else? Who else did you say? Who else is coming?
Leela James, Abrams, MLK the Third,
everything.
Yeah, it's a power packed event. It really is July the 16th,
and that's just one event. No telling what's coming after that. Like you said, the 365 days. I think this is just going to continue. I think we're just going to continue with doing things like this. So again, This is the health of the nation. This is Improvement Coach Robert L. Caddy. So glad that you joined us. Look for us every Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, 89.9 FM. And we also have a podcast on social media, on Facebook, which you can find at KBOB. I believe it's KBOB.com. You can always go there and look at this broadcast if you need to get any of James's information. You can go back and look at that broadcast. Of course, you can always reach me if you need any information about the radio station, or if you want to come on and promote. You can always email me at bettereverything3@gmail.com, and that's about the health of the nation or joining the legendary Better program, of course. Star, do you have any information that you want to share as far as people who may want to reach out to you to learn more about what's coming up? Could you provide an email or a phone number real quick?
Yes, Star, STARR .greenwoodchamber@gmail.com, or you can look me up on Facebook, STARR Fisher, FISHER. You'll see a picture of my baby.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about that too. I think we need to get some people from the Greenwood Chamber, the Chambers of Commerce here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We need to get them, maybe the Black Chamber of Commerce, the Greenwood Chamber of Commerce, and the Regional Chamber of Commerce. Let's make that happen. It's getting ready to happen. We'll see you all next week. This is Improvement Coach Robert L. Caddy. Boom. We got to go.